Hi, everyone, and welcome to Women of a Particular Age podcast, where we discuss women's views, life lessons, and a little bit of sugar honey iced tea. Heather, my friend, hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Tara. How are you today?
I'm good, but look at those glasses. You look so sexy. What's going on, girl? How long? Ooh, who
Thank
told
you,
you
my
these?
friend. Trying to, keep it fresh.
You look cute with your little hat. I love it. I love it.
Thank you, thank you. And
Ooh.
there's more glasses that I bought, so I'm going to be, putting them on for some of the other podcasts.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be looking forward to them. All right. So,
Thank
folks, before we get started, please like, share, and subscribe. www.jollystudios.com. Jolly Studios can't even talk at gmail.com. And also at Heather Mola. Heather is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You
Yeah,
guys can reach out to her, ask her some questions. Say, hey, Heather, what's going on, girl?
please
With the
do, please do. I'm here.
love hearing from you guys. So please reach out to her. Reach out to her.
Well, thank you, my friend.
Okay, so now listen. Before we get started, Heather, what do we do before we get started?
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Mm. So now,
Mm.
Heather, I know that you got a new wine. Tell us a little bit about your wine.
Yeah, so the brand is Barefoot.
Okay.
It's in all the markets. I got this one at Ralph's. It's
Okay.
a Friscato and it's
Ooh.
pineapple flavored and it has
Ooh.
a good price. It's $5.99
Yeah.
and it tastes very good. I This type of wine, I call it baby wine because it's very
Okay.
mild, fruity, and just right.
Yeah. Look at. Just a little hint of alcohol. A little hint.
Yes, just a hint, just enough, just a little
Okay.
bit.
Just enough. Just enough.
Yes.
All right. So listen. So folks, today, usually I'm leading the podcast, but today I am having Heather lead the charge. So today we will talk about a topic, and also too, Heather has a juicy court case for us. So listen, turn your attentions to Heather. I'll be the one conducting the slide. Heather,
All
it is
right.
your show.
All right. Thank you, Tara. Well, welcome everybody. So, today's topic is called Change Can Become Your Superpower.
Ooh.
So,
Tell us what that
I think,
entails, my friend. Tell us what it entails.
yeah. So, when you look at change, change is a very important aspect of life. It's really
Right.
a powerful tool to really reclaim control over our life,
Absolutely.
mindset and our circumstances. And
Right.
life is constantly changing,
Look at
whether we
whether
like
we
it
move
or
or
not,
not.
whether we move or not, we
Right.
are changing day to
Right.
day, minute to minute. So
Right.
I
Right.
just thought it would be a good topic because I think really some people are very good with change, some people
Hmm.
are not so good, and then some people don't want to change. But
Right.
I think this will kind of fall in between the people that they want to, but they don't want to spend a lot of time or they feel very overwhelmed. So I'm going
Right.
to cut it to the chase and make it real simple and very introspective so you can
Okay.
get insight from yourself from within as an individual. All right?
Okay. Well, let's start
All
with the
right.
first topic. Let's do it.
Yeah, so the first one is really creating a calming environment. So that would be, finding a nice quiet spot in your home, somewhere you feel
Mm,
very comfortable, quiet, cozy. You
right.
know, if you don't have that, that's okay. Maybe if the weather's good outside, go to the beach, go to the
Right.
park. You can even take yourself in your car and just drive somewhere where
Lots of
it's
people
nice
like
and
to do that.
quiet.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
So, if you're home, you can set the mood, right? You can put
Right.
some candles. You can maybe put some nature sounds. You can
Right.
play some, very nice light instrumental music.
Right.
Me personally, when I do journaling or I'm doing meditation,
Uh-huh.
I prefer silence. But for
Okay.
those that like to have a little background, nothing wrong with a little instrumental music or, nature sounds. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So So the next thing is writing down your thoughts. And now we've talked about journaling before,
Right.
so it's always a good thing. Journals are very inexpensive. You don't have to buy per se a journal. You can buy a composition book. Those are
Correct.
very
Old
cheap.
school.
Old school. Just a neat
Mm-hmm.
pen and a composition book. All right.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? Keep it nearby, wherever, it might be by your bedside, by your office, wherever you feel. You might want to even keep one in specific places so it's easy to grab.
Right.
So
Right.
something about keeping a journal is, it's good. Jot down when you have those, thoughts,
Right.
desires,
Because
maybe
you never know when ideas are going to come up or when
right.
something introspective
Or you're
comes to you.
challenged
You
by
just want to
something.
write it down.
Or you're challenged by something like, hey, okay, I know I got to deal with it. Let me just jot it down. Maybe right now is the good time to deal with it. But let me write it down, and maybe at the end of the day, when I have time, I can, you know, tackle it. All right.
Okay.
So one of the other things that you can do using your journal is making a list. Putting down your challenges or your fears, and for each one, just put down a small actionable step that you can take. Baby
Right.
steps here. Okay. It's
Right.
not jumping, or climbing up Mount Everest. It's like,
Right.
maybe just putting one foot in front of the other and
Right.
starting from there. So make it very small so it's less stress. Okay.
Okay.
Now, tune into your thoughts. That's why I'm talking about being in a silent, quiet place, because in silence, Tara, I have found my mind, things flow. Okay. Thoughts
Okay.
flow when it's quiet and I just have my mind and I'm here by myself. Okay. So,
Right.
with that being said, really explore the things that are coming through your mind, asking yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now?
Right.
There's something I'm specifically afraid of, or I'm meeting some sort of challenge, or what is that? What's the
Right.
first step I can take? Is there something I
Right.
can do today to make it a little bit better?
Right. Baby
Okay.
steps. Baby
Baby
steps.
steps. The other thing is listen to those thoughts and emotions that are flowing through you without
Hmm.
criticizing or trying to fix them immediately. Just
Right.
accept them. They're coming
Okay.
from you, internalizing. So
Okay.
don't, just be gentle with yourself when those don't judge yourself.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is breaking down the change, and I've talked a few of these points already, but start small.
Right.
Start with something that you can do today or this week as, something to help you move closer to that goal.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
That sounds
and
good.
set and set simple ones, choose steps that are specific, be realistic and manageable with
Right.
those steps.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
That
Okay.
sounds very
Now,
positive.
yes. So let's say you want to build some self-confidence, maybe in the way that you talk to people, present yourself, or when you meet new people. So you know what? Come up with some affirmations that apply strictly to you. Right?
That sounds very positive.
And make it personal to your needs, what you
Okay.
want, the change you want to see in yourself. Because
Right.
that way, say them every morning when you get up. Some people pray, so that you can still pray.
Yeah.
Do the affirmations. All right. So the other thing is uh, really practicing self-compassion. Remind yourself it's okay if you feel fearful or you're afraid or you have uncertainty. Change is a process and you don't have to figure out everything at once. That's why sometimes people get overwhelmed.
Right.
Because if you look at the whole picture, it just becomes overwhelming. You got to break it down in bite-sized pieces. Let the vision motivate you and reassure you. And let me just give you an example. Maybe you want to
Hmm.
travel somewhere. Buy a
Okay.
postcard and put it up on your desk or where you spend the most time.
Right.
And, you know, let goal. Well, maybe in a year or two. Oh, well, I want to go to Europe and maybe I can't do it this year, but maybe in 2 years. Put stuff that will motivate you.
Right.
Pictures of things or little things that remind you of your goals and your
Right.
challenges that you have. And so the visual is very good, or a vision board. The other thing
Okay.
is committing to action.
All right.
Okay. Committing to
Now,
action.
what does that look like? Committing to action.
So really is telling yourself, look, I'm going to take time out for myself to do something
Mhm.
for myself. This
Right.
is for me. This is for
Right.
me. No one else can do it for me except myself.
Right.
And so, really, it's before leaving your quiet space, committing to one small action based
Right.
on the insights that you've gained through that time of being alone and journaling and writing and asking questions and writing down your challenges and your fears and what steps you're going to take. So, write it down, say it out loud to solidify those intentions.
Right.
And so, for instance, you can say, today I will spend 10 minutes researching resources for my new goal. And you
Right.
know, Tara, there's a lot of resources out there on the internet, there's
Right.
books, there's all sorts of things, and whatever subject it is that
Right.
can help you along in the process. So, maybe doing that. Now, the last but very important uh, point that I want to make, surround yourself with support. That
Okay.
means seek encouragement. Lean
Right.
on those friends, family, mentors who uplift you and motivate you, who are
Right.
positive, that
Okay.
encourage you. And, and they give you that, the kudos, someone
Right.
that you trust with your feelings and what you're going through. And you have that connection where you both, you can share with them and they share back and you can both love and support each other through
Yeah.
whatever
Especially if
that
you trust
process
them.
is.
Especially if you
You
trust them.
trust them, exactly. So
Okay.
that is that's the end of the topic. That's really change can become your superpower. You
Yeah.
gain confidence in yourself, and when you start making those small changes, you're going to see them, and that'll build your confidence. And you say, I can do this. And you know what?
Right.
You can.
Right. And folks, please understand, we know that change is not easy, but we're
Hmm.
just giving you some advices or giving you some clues or giving you some hints or some
Yes.
suggestions on what
Yeah.
you can do to get yourself to evolve to make changes.
Right.
Okay?
And
All right.
simple steps,
Simple.
because that thing, we are all busy. These are
Right.
things you can do that are very simple, 10
Right.
minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. And so you don't have to overwhelm yourself with a huge project ahead of you because we don't
Right.
have that kind of time.
That's right. Right, right, right. Okay. So folks, we're going to go ahead and switch gears. Okay. So Heather, let's move on
Yes.
to the court case. We're
Yes. So,
excited.
all right. So let me get to that over here.
And you let me
All
know
right.
when you're all
All
ready and
right.
I'll put the pictures
So
up and
we're going to talk about burn pile murder. Okay, this is Georgia versus Ferris. This has been a very big case on court TV. And we've got Melody Ferris to the left, and we've got Mr. Gary Ferris on the right. He was the victim. Melody Ferris is the defendant. Um, yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about each person. So the victim is Gary Ferris. At the time that he of his unaliving, he was 58
Mhm.
years old, prominent
Wow.
attorney in Georgia.
Okay.
By many, he was said to have been a genius, really, really good at everything.
All
He
right.
was founder of a law firm, of Burr and Foreman Law Firm. He was
Ooh.
Yes. Yes. And he was a family patriarch, husband, father of 4 children, a grandfather.
They had 4 children, Heather?
Four. Yes. They had 2 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
So they had a big family.
Okay.
And Gary was always ready and willing to help his family, entire family, okay,
Okay.
with financial assistance.
All
He was
right.
very prominent, very well to do. But he
Okay.
was always, no one ever lacked because he was there to help them.
Right.
Now, he did file for divorce back in February 2010,
Mhm.
but later in August 2010, he dismissed the divorce filing. I guess they reconciled and wanted to try to make things work out.
Okay. But we
Uh,
but we don't know why he filed, right? The first time.
well, I'm going to tell you,
Okay.
he was aware of Melody cheating. That was one
Oh, so she was cheating, girl.
She was cheating, and she was overspending money and had credit card
Ooh,
debt.
ooh, that means she was spending for that new
Mhm,
man, girl.
mhm, and, she had another man, which I'm not gonna mention because he really isn't part of the trial and the whole story, but, yeah, she did have affairs, and so this
Affair
was the
airs like in
affairs. Yes,
numerous.
multiple. Yes, mhm,
Woo! Okay, she
yes.
was getting it in.
Yes, girl, she was.
Okay.
And this was like a really big point of contention. Just imagine,
Right.
now I know he was very hardworking. He's very prominent, hardworking
Right.
attorney. So, they put in the hours, girl.
Right.
They work. He was a hard
Right.
worker. Now, back in 2018,
Hmm.
they ended up buying a property, like the dream property. I think it's
Okay.
part of like reconciling. He wanted to do something for her and for himself. He said,
Okay.
they bought this beautiful $2 million home with 10 acres that has a
Right.
creek, pond,
Right.
woods. And this was supposed to be as a fresh start to reconcile their marriage. So
Okay.
this is about Gary. Now,
All right. So he was trying.
yes, he was trying.
Okay.
Now, the defendant, Melody Ferris,
Okay.
she's six now
And
she's
look at
60.
this picture of her, y'all. Look at her
Yes,
in court. She wanted to
yes,
make sure she let y'all know, even though Heather will tell you what happened. She wanted to
yes,
let you guys know that she was still fabulous.
yes.
Okay.
And she
She
was
had it
out.
together.
Yes, and yes. So she always looked good and put together. Pearl earrings, necklace, really nice. Outfits. But
Right.
yes, but now
Mm,
Now, she's 64 years old now. She's a
okay.
wife, she's a
Right.
grandmother. They
Hmm.
were married for 38 years.
Right.
She had a marital affair with a Roy, who was called Rusty. His last name's Barton. She
Okay.
loved to overspend her husband's earned money, and she had a lot of credit card debt. And Melody was
Wow.
unhappy that their children were constantly financial draining them due to their own financial woes. And later, Melody was not happy with the money restrictions that Gary placed on her. She didn't
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Okay. And
All
she didn't
right.
like the fact that the kids were doing that, but she was doing it to him too. So
Okay.
she's unhappy about the kids doing it, but she's doing it to him too. So they're
Okay.
just kind of following in mom's steps,
All
right?
right. All right.
Okay.
So then
So,
get us to where we
yeah.
need to get to. All
Yes.
right.
So
Come
here
on.
we go. So before the unaliving, they were living in that house, right?
Okay.
And uh they had an open marriage, and what they did is they lived separately in the house. He lived in the basement and she lived upstairs, and then they were free to see whoever they wanted, but they were still married. But
Okay. I get it.
yeah, so they're considering an open marriage because technically
Okay.
they're married, but
Okay.
that was the arrangement. Okay.
Okay.
So now let's get to the storyline. On the morning of July 3rd, 2018, Melody contacts her family to make them aware, hey, I just saw Gary last night, but this morning I came down to the kitchen, which was the common area, and she
Right.
couldn't find him anywhere. So she ended up
Hmm.
contacting the police because she couldn't find him. And then the family came right away to search for their father. Now,
Uh-huh.
during that search on the property, not too far from the home, the two brothers went down to the what we call a burn pile because Gary liked to burn piles of trash all the time. Even the son said, "Oh, he had this fascinating. He was always burning the burn piles," and he had talked to them about doing
Mm,
that, you
mm,
know. And so they, oh, maybe he went down there. Maybe he fell and had an accident or something. So they
mm.
ended up going down there, and guess what? They find the dad in the burn pile. Scott, the ones that saw him and saw the wallet, and then they see some sort of remains, and they call the police over to look, and it was him.
Wow.
Yes, girl. And then what they did is the police was searching in the home,
Uh-huh.
right? And
Right.
so everybody's thinking at this point, we found Gary in the burn pile. Oh my God, it must have been a horrible accident. He fell in, he tripped, he had a heart attack, he got dizzy,
Mm.
fainted. No, girl. They go into the house. They go to the basement. As they're walking down, there's blood spatter on the carpet, on the walls. And when they get down, there's blood splatter and a 38 shell casing on the floor. Okay. So, mhm.
Wow.
So now the police are like, well, here we're thinking it's an accident. The poor man, no, the
Okay.
poor man
Oh.
somehow was shot and then dragged over there. Now, mind you, the children were all questioned. They were all cleared. The one
Right.
son, Scott, that lived above the farm, and he lived
Mm-hmm.
on the property, took care of the farm for the dad.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He was also cleared. Apparently,
Mm-hmm.
he came home that night late,
Mm-hmm.
and he put on a CPAP. And you know how the CPAP records that you're breathing? So
Right.
that was his alibi. Thank goodness, right? That he was
Okay.
on his CPAP and his breathing, and I recorded everything. So he was cleared.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
now here's the thing: the three of the four children,
Mm-hmm.
okay, Scott, Emily, and Chris, suspected that the mother killed their father because she was very upset, with Gary controlling her. And then the
Okay.
one daughter, Amanda, was on her side, saying that she would have never, done that. So this whole situation tore the family apart,
Oh,
with
wow.
the unaliving of poor
Right.
Gary.
Okay,
Now,
so listen, I got a question for time's sake, just because we're
yes,
running out of time, for
yes,
time's sake.
see,
Let's get to how they figured out how she did it and how much time that she got.
yes, exactly. Okay. So I just want to mention this. The boyfriend did give a statement when she
Right.
got arrested in Tennessee with him. He was
Mhm.
in the car with her, and he went in for questioning. He said, "Oh, she told me on July 3rd that he was in the burn pile." This was before anybody found his body.
So she told
Then,
on herself.
yeah, yes, girl. And then when she got arrested and they had the jailhouse calls,
Right.
she's like, in code kind of wording, kind
Right.
of like, you better kind of backpedal on that because it's not going to look good. I didn't do anything, what she's saying.
Right.
So
Right.
guess what he did? A year later, he goes with this attorney and he recants it. And the police are like, sure. But
Mm.
anyways, so here we go. We got blood splatter. It was Gary's. The
Right.
bullet. He had a
Right.
bullet in his rib cage.
Right.
Um, the only one with the motive was her
Right.
money, right?
Right.
And his assets. And she was there. She was the last person to
Yeah, she was
speak
the
to
last
them.
person to see him. So we,
Yeah,
of
she saw
course.
him and she spoke to him, and that's it,
Right.
right? Okay.
Right.
So she was brought up on charges of convicted of malice murder, aggravated
Okay.
assault with deadly weapon, and concealing the death of another. So
Right.
that was that, and then and then what happened was, let's see over here. Yep. Okay, so now as far as I'm sorry, trying to get to my little note over here. Okay, so now she got sentenced to 30 years. No, life, I'm
Whoa.
sorry, life in prison. She's eligible for parole in 30 years, which should be what,
Right.
94. I don't even think she's
Ooh.
gonna, especially jail life. It's
Right.
not, very,
Right.
yes, girl. So she's, yeah. Now I will say this: last Sunday, not
Mhm.
last Sunday on Dateline,
Right.
on the 17th, they did show um, this Ferris murder. So if anybody
Okay.
wants to look it up, you can watch it. It was,
Oh,
I
so
think
they can go to Dateline.
they can go to Dateline. It's a 2 hour, every Sunday they show, a case. And this
Mhm.
happened to come on, which was good because this case was just, they made a decision several weeks ago. So it's pretty fresh. So if you
Okay.
want to find out more, do that. You can go to YouTube and there's a bunch of information that's on there from Court TV, different specific parts of the trial. So if you want to learn more, get more in depth, that's the place to go.
All
So
right. And the name of it is The Burn Pile Murder.
burn pile murder. Yes. And
Ooh.
I just have to add this, Tara. I have to add this. Okay. She was at the end of the trial, right before the judge sentenced her, she
Right.
wanted to speak. They don't, the defendant doesn't have to speak. They can or don't. She decided to. And for 20 minutes, she ranted that she had nothing to do with it. And she was throwing Scott, her son, the one that lives above the barn, that he had means and motive and he killed his dad up to the sentencing. Okay, which it wasn't
Wow.
going to help her or
She's a,
hurt her at that
she's
point because
a,
she was going to
she's a
get what
cold-blooded
she
mom. She's
wanted.
gonna blame her kid.
Yes.
Wow.
That's it. I had to add that
Mm,
little tidbit because I was just beside myself. Like, lady, you're gonna get
mm,
sentenced. You don't even show any empathy or sadness that your husband is gone. Okay, you could have said, "I didn't do it," but I'm very sad that my husband's gone and the children don't have their
exactly.
father.
But you're throwing your
No,
kid under the
he's
bus.
cold blooded. Yes. So, anyways, I just wanted to
Wow.
add that.
Okay, so man, okay, so you got folks, listen. If you guys get a chance, once again, Heather said that this was on Dateline. It is called The Burn Pile Murder. Okay, and they're the Ferrises. There is Melody Ferris and Gary Ferris. Heather, thank you so much for sharing that murder because, or
Mhm.
unaliving. Sorry, folks. We want to make sure
Yes.
we call it unaliving. We
Yes.
appreciate that. And folks,
Yes.
listen, we appreciate you coming on this ride with us. We wanted to make sure we did something different. We're always making you guys laugh. And we want to make sure that we bring you guys more topics that can actually feed into you. Okay. So listen, folks, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on the ride. And look
Yes.
it, we will
Thank you.
see you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining. Bye.